Difficult ones, Zamri will answer. Easy ones, I will deal. That's what the Prime Minister is for. Okay, ada soalan sila. In English, Malay, Urdu, Chinese, Bengali. No, I'm joking. English or Malay. All right? No question. Thank you very much. We'll adjourn.
No, we have questions from the floor. Can you just
Yes.
raise your hand, and the mic will come to you.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Please, there, yeah. Yes. You do not have the mic, you shout. You are young. Ada mic.
We take one from the gentleman. Okay.
No, ini.
Line up. Okay.
Cuba.
Ini dulu.
All right.
Ya. Oh, terima kasih. Right, ya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
To say I am Ade Anggin Hakim. I am from Indonesia. Any Indonesian here? Okay, thank you very much. I am from UTHM, University Tun Hussein on Malaysia, especially in Johor. Datuk Sri, especially I am very fans with you and many younger generation in Indonesia. Many fans also Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Because why? Because the perjuangan dari Datuk Sri yang berpuluh-puluh tahun and now to become a Prime Minister, the number one of the best number one in Malaysia. Okay, Datuk Sri, thank you very much for this opportunity for you. And I'm many video watching you in YouTube because I know what is the best advice for you. At first question is, Datuk Sri, for youngest generation in Indonesia, especially between us, Indonesia and Malaysia, in social media, kita macam bergaduh Datuk Sri. Macam contohlah, orang Indonesia kan, dekat Indonesia yang belum pernah visit Malaysia, dia macam tengok orang Malaysia ni jahat macam tu Datuk Sri. Macam like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, kita sering gaduh. Macam gaduh budaya, macam gaduh ini punya ni, macam tu Datuk Sri. Tapi in the fact, dekat masa saya pergi Malaysia 2023, itu saya tengok orang Malaysia baik semua Datuk Sri. Yes, of course. Especially in Semenanjung, Sabah Sarawak. Sabah Sarawak look like similar in Indonesia. Dia macam ada sedikit mirip dengan Indonesia Datuk Sri. Asal in Semenanjung. Sangat friendship, sangat baik Datuk Sri. Jadi, contoh Datuk Sri, ini menjadi ancaman Datuk Sri untuk kita future generation. Kalau in the social media kita tak maintain, kita tak buat apa yang perlu diperbuat, jadi the next generation 10 years, 5 years from now, 10 years and 2 years, kita macam hubungan kita tak baik macam tu Datuk Sri. Sebab inilah persoalannya, apa yang kita perlu untuk youngest generation untuk tanggapi hal ini dekat especially in social media Datuk Sri.
Baik.
But in the real we are good friendship.
Baik.
Thank you Datuk Sri. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kita Malaysia ni dengan negara jiran, kita ambil sikap sangat baik. Ya. Singapura yang terdekat, Thailand, Indonesia, Brunei, Filipina, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia. Sebab itu, sebaik ada sedikit pertelingkahan di antara Kamboja dengan Vietnam, kita cepat-cepat merunding dan mengajak mereka bincang. Semalam pun mereka ada di sini, wakil-wakil untuk turun meluruskan. So I think our attitude must be a friendly one. I mean, we survive because of the stability and peace in this region. You see, I announced the budget on Friday. The highest allocation, and this is unique, is for allocation in the budget for 2026. The highest is for education. You know why? Because the region is peaceful. If I happen to be in the Middle East, then my priority will have to be adjusted to consider defense as the first, for example, priority. That have to be done at the expense of education, health, and basic infrastructure. So I think it is important to maintain this sort of understanding. More so between Malaysia and Indonesia. We're strong neighbors. We were one before. We speak the same language, somewhat similar culture, a majority of the same religion. Even the different religion, we are so familiar with one another. Even the minority, the tribes, we are very familiar. I mean, you talk about Dayak and Kalimantan, we have Dayak in Sarawak. You have Kadazan, we have Kadazan. I mean, so why don't we see the positive aspects of our culture? The strength is our multiracial, multireligious entity. In Malaysia, when Tengku Abdul Rahman envisaged the future, the motto was bersekutu, bertambah mutu. In Indonesia, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. Lebih kurang sama, Pak. Yeah. So the differences when you talk about enmity, prejudice, is among those who are very ignorant. There are some Malaysians who look down on Indonesians, Indon, because they see them only as workers. Indonesians have the same prejudice towards Malaysia. They think it is, some rural heartland or some of these other countries. So it is important to understand culture, to understand differences, is through knowledge, through understanding. Just a few days back, I was on Saturday, I was in University, UTP, Petronas University, in Perak. I mentioned this classic article by Edward Said in his response to Huntington's Clash of Civilization. Because according to Huntington, civilizations ought to clash because of the superiority of Western culture and civilization. So, the Indian civilization, the Chinese civilization, most of the Islamic civilization, to them, will be proven to be a failure. So it has to clash. But Edward Said's debunking of that thesis, devastating rebuke, effectively, in about 8 pages in The Nation, he just said, as relevant to what you have said, some quarters, not many, I have many Indonesian friends, and I follow their states, history, the struggle, the literature. They are great. But once you fail to understand and appreciate out of ignorance, so what did Edward Said say? It's not clash of civilization. It's clash of ignorance. You can showcase the failure to articulate, the failure to understand, the failure to reason out because of your total ignorance. So convey this message to Malaysians, to Singaporeans, to Indonesians who still have that sort of a prejudice. Look at the West. We thought Europe with this equality, fraternity, liberté of the French Revolution, the ideals of the French Revolution. But now many are talking about such a racist language, anti-everything non-white, anything un-Christian. I mean, why is it so? I happen to be born a Malay, so it's a bit different color. Some are born as Indians or Chinese or Filipinos. So what? We assess, value people due to their integrity, their character, not their color or where they come from. So I think, let me summarize by saying, these prejudices stems out of ignorance. What did Edward Said say? Clash of ignorance. So don't worry about some facets of the social media. You have the capacity. You are young, you are dedicated, you have the stamina, the energy. Fight them. Fight those who are ignorant through knowledge and understanding. Okay, next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Ashir Shanshari Sulaiman. I am from University Putra Malaysia. Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri, as Malaysia strives to become an AI nation by 2030, how will the government specifically ensure equitable access to high-quality AI education and resources, particularly for youth and in rural and undeserved communities, to prevent the growth of a widening AI-enabled digital division? That's all from me.
Thank you. Good question. Universiti Putra. Smart. Ini Idris Jalal boleh jawab lebih baik ni. You know, we have a policy in this country we call digital transformation. The country must move. And AI becomes very pertinent, important basis to propel this change. But with new technology, we have also new challenges. Number one, the issue of connectivity. Can we ensure that connectivity for the elites in the urban areas, for the poorer segments of the urban population, for the rural heartland, from Ulu Kelantan to Kapit, can you ensure that? So that, to me, will ensure the success of AI. Otherwise, it will lead to further inequity and inequality. The whole world, our whole economic strategy have to deal with the issue of growing inequality. Now, if AI is introduced without taking consideration of this fact, it will certainly have an impact and result in the failure of ensuring justice. Okay. The second issue is, which you must answer, all of you, thanks to the Ministry of Higher Education, have been given this task to introduce, to ensure that you are more familiar with the AI. Some introduce faculties, some departments. But the AI as a subject must be then a subject that transcends all disciplines. Now, but you would realize that the limitation of AI, I asked, for example, Google chief, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and the answer is somewhat the same. They say, well, what is produced and given by ChatGPT, for example, is what is loaded into it. It has this rare, spectacular ability to churn out everything, but it would depend on what is given in. So our duty, our task is to prepare our young intellectuals, academicians, technologists and experts to be able to keep our own identity, our culture, our religious values. You can answer about the beauty of the Quran, or the beauty of Malay culture, the beauty of wayang kulit from ChatGPT if what is being absorbed by them is limited to their understanding of wayang kulit. So it has to be ours. So whilst we absorb what is strong technological advancements, either from China or America or Russia or Europe, we must also have that capacity to be able to submit and prepare so that AI serves humanity from a human perspective, not from European perspective or American perspective. This is not something different. When we study history, From, I remember in early 1960-61, Professor Hussein Alatas, a noted scholar, wrote this brilliant short paper, the World Conference of Historians, or Asian Conference of Historians, entitled The Reconstruction of Malaysian History. Because in the past, our history, written, read, and studied from the perspective of the West. It's the colonial masters that determine how I understand my history. This is totally absurd. We can learn from the colonial masters, but we must decide from our own perspective. So he referred to the issue of reconstruction of Malaysian history from Malaysian interest and Malaysian angle, not from the angle, not from the Western perspective, not from London. Similarly, when you talk about AI, connectivity is one. Access is, of course, necessary. But you must always remember that what is turned out by this technology is from the expertise, the experts that give significance and input into this technology. Faham eh? Apa yang dimuntahkan oleh AI, ChatGPT, etc. adalah apa yang dimuatkan, ditelan ilmunya dari pakar-pakar. Keupayaan AI itu luar biasa, menakjubkan. Namun, kekuatan kita ialah manakala kita dapat masukkan apa yang diperolehi dari barat atau mana-mana, dari timur, tetapi juga dari keyakinan dan nilai kita, budaya kita. Itu cabaran anak muda. Arigatou gozaimasu. Yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum
Ni kalau
warahmatullahi
tengok soalan tu,
wabarakatuh.
4 petang pun habis. Ya.
Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, dengan penuh hormat, saya Nur Hidayatul Munirah mewakili para pelajar Universiti Teknologi Malaysia UTM dari Fakulti of Artificial Intelligence ingin merakamkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan kepada pihak kementerian atas usaha berterusan dalam memperkukuh mutu pendidikan tinggi negara. Okey. Secara keseluruhan, saya berasa gembira dan bersyukur menerima ilmu di UTM. Namun begitu, terdapat beberapa isu yang ingin kami kemukakan untuk perhatian dan pertimbangan pihak kementerian. Isu yang pertama, isu beasiswa JPA dan MARA. Para pelajar saya tidak dapat memohon beasiswa JPA dan MARA kerana program pengajian yang diikuti tidak tersenarai dalam senarai.
Dah masuk. Dulu tak, sekarang dah masuk.
Okay.
Okay, next question.
Isu yang kedua, kemudahan makmal yang belum lengkap. Isu berkaitan kemudahan makmal telah berlaku.
Makmal tahun lalu kita mula dengan 20 juta. Sekarang dalam peruntukan sekarang KPT kita dah tambah supaya makmal di fakulti bukan jadi UTM, di semua universiti yang dah dimasukkan. Alright? Terima kasih.
Isu yang ketiga, ketiadaan makmal umum untuk pelajar.
Dah jawab tadi dah.
Makmal umum.
Yes. Yeah, the emphasis. Right.
Okay.
Okay, next person. Terima kasih.
That's hello. Okay, a very good afternoon to Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar, other ministers, distinguished guests, and other potential leaders all across the world. My name is Pamela Anak Louise, and I'm a student from University of Technology Sarawak. So here's my question. Yang Amat Berhormat, Sarawak has a great potential to become a leading hub for artificial intelligence, or we call as AI, development in Malaysia. With resources such as Bakun Dam and also Baleh Dam, which the Sarawak generate sustainable hydroelectric powers. Sarawak has the big capacity to support large-scale data centers and energy-intensive AI operations.
Question?
So here's the question. In the line with Malaysia's vision to strengthen our digital economy, will the federal government consider a deeper collaboration with the Sarawak government to position Sarawak as a national center for AI innovation, research and development?
Thank you. If you follow the development, the national policy from 13th Malaysia Plan to the budget, I always made reference to Sarawak as the energy hub for the region. Okay? So you don't only listen to some parochial politicians. You should read from the national agenda. And wherever I go, from Geneva to Japan, I always promote Sarawak as energy and now even semiconductor hub. And I think this is important because they have the capacity, not only hydro, but green hydrogen, although it is the question of cost is being considered. I even promoted strongly in Japan for them to continue to invest in Sarawak. So it is important to realize that we promote Kulim High Tech or Penang or Johor or Sarawak or Sabah for that matter, the blue economy. One of the ASEAN's strategic pillar is the ASEAN power grid from Vietnam to Malaya to Singapore, from Sarawak to Semenanjung to Singapore, Sarawak to Sabah to Indonesia to the Philippines. And that is a national agenda which we work together with Sarawak. So don't worry about that. My concern is because some people, because of the strong influence of parochialism and tribalism, they tend to look at it differently. But if they follow, again, I should reiterate the point, that you follow the national strategy, certainly Sarawak, when it comes to energy, and now semiconductor, I was there with a fab installation to open the new factory in Kuching or near Kuching, and have given a clear direction as a national policy to support Sarawak in this area. Okay, terima kasih. Next.
Hello. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Salam ilmu keikhlasan keseimbangan UNIMAP dan juga salam Malaysia Menadi. Saya Iman Hosseini Syariti bin Abdul Halim daripada UNIMAP. So the question is, how does budget 2026 create new opportunities for youth empowerment in education, also entrepreneurship, and what steps will be taken to ensure that these benefits reach youth in both urban and rural areas? So to be simplified, what the opportunities that will youth get in every corner of Malaysia from the budget 2026?
Thank you. You see, budget 26, you must realize this. In framing a budget, what is required? Required, firstly, to understand the national priorities. Of course, the country has to grow. We have to propel the economy. It's got to be attractive as a destination for foreign direct investment, at the same time to attract domestic investments, to be more vigorous in their efforts to invest. Now, this morning I was at the 8 a.m., I was with the Prime Minister's Department gathering. And I talked about, first you must understand the macroeconomic policy. Some of you, of course, specialize in economics or in various faculties associated with the political economy or just economics. We all talk about Adam Smith. Our generation in particular, we just absorbed the thinking about economic policy based on the wealth of nations, which to me remains a very important treatise. I'm not disputing that. But there's one view, a prominent view. And the problem is our education system sometimes, we get obsessed with that particular view. But even then, even if you decide to place such an importance to Adam Smith's work, Wealth of Nations, you must also understand and realize that Adam Smith has two masterpieces. One is Wealth of Nations, the other is a theory of moral sentiment. And you should read both. Wealth of Nations focus mainly on issue of growth, of capital, and of course a capitalistic economy. But the theory of moral sentiments talked about concern, justice, concern for the welfare of the workers. So it's a bit balanced about the issue of moral sentiments. That's why the title of this book is The Theory of Moral Sentiments. So there is some balance. I was in a retreat with Amartya Sen and Michel Camdesu in Bilbao, Spain. Amartya Sen brought his wife, Emma, philosophy professor of history from Oxford. It's interesting that when we were discussing Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations and Theory of Moral Sentiment, she made this very pertinent remark which surprised me. She said, Anwar, notwithstanding your concern and criticism of Adam Smith, which I share because of the need to be more concerned with the welfare of the poor and the marginalized, she said, at least 14 or 17 times in the Wealth of Nations where Adam made reference to the word inequality. It was shocking because what we read, or when we study or we're taught, purely capitalistic venture. What more if you look at theory of moral sentiments? So in crafting a budget, I have to consider, for example, growth, confidence, domestic, foreign direct investments. At the same time, what is growth to whom? I mean, to the welfare of the majority, to the people. How can you have a country booming with, we used to have 10%, now 4.5%, and still we have abject poverty. People who don't have enough to eat or can't buy a school uniform. To me, it's not acceptable. We have to try and find ways and means to help resolve them. And that is, in order to disperse more funds to education, to health, to infrastructure, then you need to tax. Well, that is the conventional theory. In the past, there has been that. You have to tax in order to get revenue to spend. But if you do that, what is the assumption? The assumption is everything is right. Everything is not right. Not even in this country. Why? There are many leakages. There's still corruption. There's still smuggling. Okay. There's still cartels. Why don't we deal with this first? But this involves big tycoons, big players, powerful people. They've squandered not 100 million, billions. Take it back. The government has to take them back and spend on the people, on education and on the young. Now, it's not easy, I'm telling you. We used to subsidize in a form or other for chicken to help, okay? The rationale is what? To help the people, we have to subsidize. How much? Average 1.1 billion ringgit per year. Just subsidize so that the price of chicken is low. Okay? Then we look, why is it the price of chicken in Thailand is much lower? So we say, no, withdraw that support. Because it's controlled by the cartels. Talk to the cartels. If they threaten to increase the price, we'll import the cheap chicken from Thailand, put in the cold storage, and then bring it out and distribute if they start imposing a higher price. Now, we did that 2 years back. We saved 1 billion ringgit per year and the price of chicken is still low. And that's what policy is all about. We don't tax. We withdraw that subsidy to the rich, to the cartels. Same in loves chicken. We introduced 2 years back this tariff for electricity. It became a big issue. PMX is unjust, increasing price of tariff to the people. But 85% of the people, your families here don't pay. The rich industries pay. The very rich people, you have 6 aircon in your house. Why must the government subsidize you? You pay. Why is it so difficult? So here you have members of parliament, particularly in the opposition, talking and opposing this. So I ask them, whom do you represent? You represent the rich. You go to the village, you say, we are the champion and the conscience of the people. You go to parliament, you support the rich. I mean the rich, we are not even penalizing them. We are not imposing a higher fee. We are just saying, you pay the market rate. We are not subsidizing you. How much you will save? About 5 billion ringgit a year. Okay. Now, RON 95 subsidy. Petroleum. We reduce 199 for Malaysians. And the foreigners, my apologies, many of you. You pay. And still it's cheap. Don't complain. Our price of petroleum, RON 95, is cheaper than Saudi Arabia or Qatar. Okay? How much can we save? 2.5 billion ringgit. So I don't need to tax. Just break that monopoly. Break the cartel. So, similarly, we have smuggling. Rampant smuggling. Poor enforcement. But the last 2 years, I announced on Friday, we shocked many of my colleagues. Even Zamri was surprised. I don't know why he should be surprised, but he was. Because we thought probably we are able to take back from corrupt money, from the syndicates, from smugglers, from all sort of cartels and syndicates. You know, in 2 years, we collected 15.5 billion ringgit. This is why I've been talking about governance, tata kelola. Leadership must be clean and stop this nonsense, this corruption in our country. Yeah. Yes. And I need the support of the young. You must take the lead. You must say no more corruption in this country. No smuggling, no syndicate. Yeah. Now, because of that, I'm able to start something which is close and dear to my heart. Education should be free. So I started, I can't go, in a radical way. I got to do it, make sure it is done in phases. So from next year, the very poor in this country will get free education until university. And inshallah, if the governance is right, we will slowly graduate that. Okay? So PTPTN, they can borrow, but they didn't. It becomes a scholarship. See, we can. Why do I get to do this? Because I'm able to make sure and crack these excesses and leakages. Now, similarly to the gig, we are now giving so much assistance. First, the gig economy, because a few 100,000 young people are involved in that. Additional training, additional exposure. Now, if you get to the right disciplines in the universities, there's no issue about graduate unemployment. We will have to make sure that there's no mismatch. We have to make sure that people are more trained and qualified in the right discipline. We must make sure the universities provide better education. We are short of 30,000 engineers in this country, and now AI. and accountancy, law, even proficiency in languages, English in particular. So I think we'll do whatever is necessary, because I think if you look at the 2026 budget, the focus is a lot on our parents, but more so to the young. And the students, primary school, secondary school, and graduates, and youth in general. A lot of focus is given for training, including Tibet, and opportunities for retraining, upskilling, reskilling, etc. Okay? Terima kasih. Yeah, next.
Hello,
Oh,
Assalamualaikum.
belah sana, sorry. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, Datuk Sri. My name is Abdul Akil Naim. I'm from UTM, University Technical Malaysia, Melaka. So I'm going to keep it short and simple. My questions is regarding our brothers and sisters from Palestinians. My questions is regarding our stance and the GSF issue. What are the tangible steps the government is currently taking or planning to translate Malaysia's strong words into impactful global actions? And the second one is, what do we, the young leaders here, can do to actively partake and participate regarding this issue?
Thank you. That's a correct attitude. You know, why do you focus on education? What do you learn? Learn, of course, in the very field of specialization. But the whole idea of education, as I said, is to assimilate knowledge, but to disseminate what you understand as truth and justice. And you value freedom. Why do your parents or your grandparents fought against the British and attained independence? Why do Indonesians fought against the Dutch? Or the Vietnamese against the French and then later the Americans? Because they value freedom. They value human dignity. They fight against colonialism. Because colonialism is a policy, is degrading men and women. It is exploitation, harlom, parlom in French. Exploitation of man by man. So similarly, in the case of Gaza or the Palestinians, that's why I hear some small minority Malaysians who question why you give money to the Palestinians. I mean, we have spent 400 billion ringgit in this country. Can't we give 100 million ringgit? I mean, I can't understand. So they are. So I'm a thank you, because at least you represent the conscience of the majority. That's what students are for. You represent the conscience of the majority. What is right, what is just, what is free. And you understand why your parents, your grandparents fought against the colonial masters. Because you respect human dignity, you want freedom for your people. Why do you deny freedom for the Palestinians? Because different color, different religion. I mean, they are of course majority Muslim, they are Christians. Why do you allow colonialism? Why is it possible to be colonized? The Europeans just issued a statement, more sanctions against Russia because of their policy in Ukraine. Why the silence against the Palestinians? That's why I say many of these countries try and preach us, talk to us about freedom, about human rights, about democracy. Such hypocrisy we don't want to hear anymore. So we do whatever we can. Fortila is one initiative, not my initiative. I can't claim credit. Some young Malaysians wanted to take the lead. Oh, I said, okay, they move on. We support, facilitate them. Then I said, okay, they want me to be fully supportive and endorse. I said, yes, and I happen to be the first leader. in any country to support officially. Then recently Colombia endorsed, thank you very much. And then now I suggested them, okay, now that there is peace, we of course express our appreciation to President Donald Trump, Qatar, Egypt, and all these countries that have supported the peace initiative. We hope it works. And it is important for the region and for humanity at large. And they are now at Sharm el-Sheikh, working on the initial phase. But I've told our friends in Sumut Nusantara, Fortila, to say now, you don't need to go by sea, go by land. I hope to communicate to President Abdul Fattah Sesi in the next few days to suggest to him that, allow our contingent to go via Egypt to Rafah and continue to assist. With complete devastation. That's why, I know ours is a small country. We don't have big defense establishment. But we value dignity. Why are we involved in the squabble between Thailand and Cambodia? As I said, they are here. They were here yesterday, working with our team to try and facilitate. Why did I send the foreign minister to Myanmar last week? To try to tell them, look, stop this fighting, try and negotiate, find a amicable settlement. Yes, we did send our military field hospital to Myanmar. What was the condition? Stop the shooting, allow access to humanitarian aid. Not that I agree with their policies, but that's the minimum. So that, in a small way, things that we need to do. Now the focus by the Arab countries, the neighboring countries, and some European countries, I think President Donald Trump is convening a meeting with some 15, 20 countries in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, to try and resolve. We'll support. I may have differences with many of them, it doesn't matter. But on issues of peace, on issues of human dignity, we should be together. So, thank you very much, and we will certainly do whatever we can. And I appreciate the sentiment of the young, because these are the seeds of awareness that is implanted in you from now. If you don't care, you don't value education. You don't care about human dignity. You don't care about injustice. Oh, never mind. After all, he's somewhere in Ulu Rejang. What do I care? I have enough problems here. That is, beginning of the dehumanizing attitude. It doesn't matter. Well, doesn't matter. He's a Hindu somewhere in the estate. See, I've heard some friends say that. Or some now Indians talking, oh, why must you have so much program for the Bhumi Putras? What is that? What did you ask? Oh, you're doing this for Bhumi Putra, fair, but what else can you do for the Indians? That should be the language in Malaysia. Then we work together, because this is how a country can evolve and grow as a united one. But more important to my mind, if you understand the Madani framework, is about human values. It's about trust, about respect to humanity. You are born a Dayak, so what? I'm born a Malay. But there is human respect there and trust. And when you see the dances, the culture, I love it. Yeah? This is part of my country. And I think that these things that we rejoice. Ini tak ada. Oh, they're different. They're different. Why? So, when you talk about your concern, your care for those who have been oppressed anywhere, as I mentioned, you see, we say, oh, only Palestinian. No, we work hard. Yesterday again, I was in touch with the Prime Minister in Thailand and Cambodia. You see, we work hard. And last week, I met twice the Prime Minister General of Myanmar, and I sent again the Foreign Minister last week. That's Myanmar, because they are our neighbors. This is our concern. I mean, it's okay, oh, never mind, why do you care? We have enough problems here. Of course we have enough problems here. But that's how humanity is about. So, thank you very much. I appreciate. Thank you. Again, yes.
Ya, Mak Berhormat Datuk Seri, I believe we have one last question.
Okay, then
Shall we
thank you,
take
yes.
one?
Greetings, Dr. Sari. I'm an international student from Bangladesh studying at University of
Bangladesh,
Islamabad.
okay. Bangladesh is a country Biplop and Shongram.
Yes.
You translate to them as Biplop and Shongram.
Sorry, I couldn't get to you.
Biplop and Shongram.
Okay. Biplop means to fight against the wrongdoings, and Shongram means the way you fight against it.
Okay, good.
Okay. My question to you is, what do you think is the most important thing young Malaysians and international youths can do to build a nation and promote understanding, along with closing divides in this digital age? Thank you.
Why do you ask me difficult questions at the end? Okay. First, as I said, students must acquire knowledge. You see, you must really love knowledge. It's not just studying and passing exams. It's what Sayyidina Ali bin Abi Talib referred to as lazzatul ma'arifah. Is love for scholarship. You continue to learn and read. Why? Because your knowledge is limited. You think even when you think you're smart or brilliant, you always have to have that humility to acquire knowledge. Many of you have heard that one of my favorite poets is T.S. Eliot, and I can recall exactly when he referred to humility in Islam is to be tawaddu'. The only wisdom one hope to acquire is the wisdom of humility. Humility is endless. Okay? That means humility, once if you're humble, you realize that you need to listen and learn. But that is a major problem. You have to excel in your studies, of course. You have various disciplines. But as you know, this great Spanish philosopher, when he talks about barbarism of specialization, there's our failure in many of our education system. That's why I think the minister and the ministry is trying to get people to understand values. In Madani framework, of course you have to specialize. You have to know AI, engineering, or whatever new technology, energy transition. But you have to understand that you are your studies is to understand yourself, your family, your society, and the human needs. Otherwise, it's barbarism of specialization. You know how to build bridges, but you don't understand that there's also need to have a bridge between peoples and cultures. Okay? So that to me is number one, the priority to imbibe knowledge. Then of course, you have to imbibe this sense, this belief, this strong conviction. And with this conviction, courage of conviction to defend the truth, justice, and freedom. But with knowledge. Otherwise, you can see, as our friend from Indonesia was saying, is ignorance. Ignorance is not knowledge. So, before you decide, before you listen to all these jokers and pedestrian talk, you must try and understand and appreciate values. And through that, you give a better sense of conviction because you have a purpose. This is another term, tenacity of purpose. You know what you want in life. Oh, you have to succeed. You have to be a great professional. But for what? to enrich yourself, to buy expensive cars and have a beautiful house. Is that all? Then that's not educated. You are not educated. You had some form of specialization. So there must be a higher aim in life. And I believe, looking at the enthusiasm of the young here, I am deeply encouraged. Saya sangat terkesan kerana saya lihat semangat anak-anak. Saya ucap terima kasih. Salute. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, please give another big round of applause to our Prime Minister, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, for leading this enlightening conversation.